Honey, it's just us talking. So in 195 days, you're gonna play Arizona at Allegiant Stadium in Las Vegas. Hopefully, there's like 80,000 fans there. That would be awesome. So go ahead and just clear it up. Who's going to be the starting quarterback? Go ahead.
Me. No, I mean the best one that wins the job will be taking the snaps from center, and the fortunate part for us is we have a bunch of guys that can do it, and I have a lot of confidence in all of them. So I'm pretty sure that someone will emerge by that time. Until then, we're going to give them as much time as possible to compete and win the spot.
Now, sometimes, a winner of that is announced after spring ball, and then it gives the guys sort of the summer to rally around that guy and prepare. Do you think that this will go into fall camp, or do you plan on naming a guy after spring?
I don't think we can put a timeline to it. I think having a deadline, the most important deadline is by the time we get to the first game. I think once we kind of figure it out, then we'll know. I think maybe creating the opportunity for it to be kind of more down to a two-man race will probably be the deal when we get to camp. But even then, I can't predict it. I can't forecast it from now because we want to give everyone an opportunity to win the spot. And there's a lot of different things that go into it, which receivers are on the field, the high level of veterans or experience that's blocking for them, defense that they're going against. That's just us playing against ourselves. And so we have to evaluate all that and then try to simulate a game type of experience for them and see how they can, these quarterbacks can perform under some pressure. And I think they're going to do really well, though, and I think it's going to be a lot of fun. Probably get them to raise their level of play and make everyone better.
Yeah, I think it's going to be fun as well. We didn't see Jaren Hall play and barely dress for games during the season, yet he's not playing baseball, so it feels like he's all in on trying to get the starting job here.
He is, and I think he took some time to recover and get healthy, and he's really good right now. So I think going into spring ball, we feel really good about his health and him being close to 100%. His arm strength is there, and so it's going to be a really good competition with all of them, and it's good to have them, all of them, back and healthy and ready to roll.
That's great news. Looking forward to it coming up March 1st with spring ball. Speaking of quarterbacks, Zach Wilson and this crew of NFL prospects will provide a compelling pro day coming up in late March. What do you expect from that group that certainly will provide multiple NFL guys?
Well, I mean, I'm really excited about the guys and their opportunity. I'm glad that we're having a pro day, and I know that Zach probably wants to do everything. He wants to run, jump, and do everything, but I think the key is going to be him throwing the ball. But I think having our other players get a chance in the pro day to showcase themselves and have an opportunity to go play at the next level. I think we have a lot of guys in this class that will be in NFL squads. And I think there's a lot of guys that are underclassmen on our team returning that are going to go to the NFL as well and have that opportunity. So it's always good for the young guys to see these outgoing seniors and underclassmen that have declared get their opportunity to play. And I'm just really excited for all of them. And I think Zach will bring a lot of attention. But it's not just Zach. You're looking at the three guys that declared early. They're going to bring some attention. But there's a lot of guys that are in the mix that are kind of on the bubble of a draft pick to a free agent. And that's a good place for our guys to be in, and shows a lot of the improvement and the things that we've done as a program to develop these young men into the caliber athletes that they are right now.
Yeah, win and get noticed. And Zach Wilson, Kalani, has a chance to be the highest draft pick in BYU history, which is just incredible. If he goes top 4, he is. He's being talked about as high as 2. What's that like for you to sit here and go, man, a couple years ago, we changed the offensive staff. We went and got Zach real quick. He came, and then here we are talking about him maybe being a top 5 pick.
Yeah, I mean, I know this sounds crazy, but I think we have a lot of guys that can have that type of year, and it only takes a year, to make your mark. I mean, Joe Burrow's proved that. Kyler Murray did it as well, and so I think Zach was the next one to step up and do it, and I think it gives a lot of hope and excitement for the rest of the guys that are playing on our team. That you guys that I mean, not a lot of people were talking about Dax last year, and now he's a possible draft pick, and Brady Christensen's got a lot of attention. And so there's a lot of guys on this team that I feel can make it there, make it to the league. And but I'm just really, really proud to be their coach, man. I'm just happy that they're starting to develop and perform the best of their abilities, and they're starting to find some hidden talents that they didn't think they had before. And a lot is their work ethic and their ability to get uncomfortable and find ways to grow and progress.
One great year is exactly right. We're talking with Kalani Sitake, the head coach of the BYU football team here on BYU Sports Nation. You've added a couple of guys to the staff with Jeff Grimes and Eric Mateos going to Baylor, which will be fun to match up with them this season, by the way. And Daryl Funk on the offensive line and Kevin Clune at linebackers coach. What kind of impact have you seen from those guys already as you ramp it up for spring ball here in a couple of weeks?
Well, just like what we thought they would be, is a great connection to their players. I think Daryl's done a great job connecting with all the old linemen, and I think that they're going to be a really good group for us. That we need the O-line to be functioning well in order to have time for the quarterbacks to compete and get the best one on the field. But I've been really pleased with his presence. Brings a lot of energy, but he brings a lot of experience that I think will be valuable to that room and valuable to A-Rod as an offensive coordinator. And then Kevin Clune's been around. He was here last year as a volunteer. And now, he's here, we hired him. He's got tons of experience as well, calling plays on defense and being a coordinator. And so I've known him for a long time. A-Rod and I worked with him when he was at Southern Utah. And then seeing him coordinate a lot of different schools, I think is going to be valuable for us. And I think both those guys bring tons of experience and value to the offensive, defensive staff. And I think it will make us a lot better, get our guys to perform better in each of the position groups and keep things rolling, just like we had in 2020.
Spring ball coming up in a couple of weeks here. What do you hope to accomplish other than develop the quarterbacks?
Yeah, develop everybody. Yeah, and just have great competition. We're going to have to just play a lot of football, and in order to find the best quarterback, we have to play a lot of 11-on-11 football and probably take a break from an 11-on-11 by playing 7-on-7. So I see the quarterbacks throw the ball, but we need to see every position group improve and have some of these younger guys that people haven't heard of, allow them to have an opportunity to perform and compete. And then I think we'll be able to develop a lot of depth. Last year, we were able to get a lot of guys valuable reps in game time situations, and played a lot more reps than they've had in years past. And so I think we got a deeper team, even though we've lost a lot of production from last year. We return a lot of guys that have played in football games, and that's going to be huge for us going into this season in 2021. But it's going to be great for us going into spring ball as well, with a lot of experience and veterans returning.
And you returned some return missionaries, led by Dallin Holker, most notably, who played as a freshman in 2018. We've talked about this a little bit before, and you've addressed it publicly, where you've said, hey, ideally they kind of develop for a year physically and then we throw them in. So is your hope that you don't have to use a return missionary per se the year after their mission physically?
I think things are different now, even on missions, where the missionaries are allowed to actually work out now and do that daily.
I thought they did that the whole time, Kalani.
I guess kidding. That's like, well, you ask some of the other schools, I think that's all they do is work out and get stronger. But, I think that they made a change where missionaries could actually work out every day and get that hour in. Compared to when I went, it was only on P day that you could work out. And so I think the return to the field can be a lot quicker, especially if we're really smart with when we bring them back. And we've been able to gray shirt some guys and kind of push them into the weight room and get that transition back. And it's sped up the process, kept them healthy. But for these guys like Dallin Holker and others, I think they're going to come in just ready to roll. I anticipate them coming in ready to roll. But there's other positions that will need guys that would need to be careful with their transition from knocking on doors. Well, I don't even know if they can do that anymore. But from proselyting to being a football player, and so it's really individual when it comes down to it.
Yeah, and I suppose it depends when they get home, too, because you have some guys that are already there working out, so they certainly have a better chance than the others, it would seem. Okay, you added South Florida 2 more years, so 4 games, from 2019 to 23. What did you think of that extension? And are you hoping that Tom Brady shows up to the season opener next year in Tampa?
I'm hoping we have some guys on that team that they can show up, So we'll see. I'm excited about that matchup. I know we want to play that game again, especially out there, and so to have that opportunity to play them. I mean, they're a good team, and I think we've got a win streak started in Florida now, and we can build on it.
That's right. That's right. The first win in Florida in program history. That was a big one in the bowl game over UCF. Okay, it's been a couple months since 2020 ended, about 2 or so since the bowl game. What's been some of your takeaways from the magical season that was 2020?
So, I've seen a lot of progress as a program and as a team. I mean, the guys, the pandemic was a little odd because not a lot of fan involvement, and we get a lot of strength from them. So I think that would just be an added boost for us this year. I mean, I'm looking at the basketball team. I'm watching all BYU sports and how the fan base has been so electric in the past, and we're kind of missing that a little bit. And so you'll see the teams rally around each other, and then they find some things about them where they're not just depending on the fans anymore to create momentum. They're creating it on their own. But imagine when the fans are there to help speed up the process. Because I know, speaking for the athletic department, look at our student athletes. They love our fans. They love playing for them. And I love the interaction that all our teams have with the fans, and it makes a difference. I mean, I look at the Gonzaga game that our men's team played, was it last week or so, and I think the fans would have been a difference maker in that one, especially at the beginning of the game to start. And so when that gets added back in, I think that's probably a little bit more of a boost than people would imagine, especially here at BYU. And then the great part about it right now that we're experiencing is that the teams depending on each other. So I think it's going to be an even more enhanced experience for everyone, players and fans included, where we can get the stands full.
Yeah, it's going to be really special. In week 2, Utah comes to Provo. Hopefully we have fans, as many as possible, hopefully a full stadium. Who knows how this is going to play out the next 6 months or so, but that would be incredible. And Kalani, you go from a schedule where, listen, you were just trying to put together a schedule. You played a schedule. It was incredible, 11-1. You finished in the top 15. It was awesome. Now you go back to, the more traditional schedule this year with an increased number of Power 5s, 7 Power 5s. Is there anything you have to do differently to prepare for a schedule that is notably tougher like that?
No, I think we go into every game expecting to play all 60 minutes with our top guys. And then, I think I've been really quick as a head coach to pull the starters out of the game, especially this last season, because I thought it was just really valuable to get our younger guys experience. And so we were able to do that so many times this last year, where that comes maybe a couple times, a few times in the season, normal years, and so that I think that's going to be really valuable for us. But I mean, imagine the yards that Zach could have thrown if I would have just kept him in there the whole entire time, and if we kept staying aggressive and throwing the ball. So I think we just have to be ready to do that, and going into this season and not we have to expect to do that like we do every year and every game. And if we end up getting a big lead and having a dominating performance, then I'm going to pull guys out and put our backups in so they can get that valuable experience to help this program move in the way that we want it to.
We're talking with Kalani Sitake, head coach of the BYU football team. Kalani, 'tis the season to pick at the draft picks. It's just what happens, right? Zach Wilson recently was, criticized for not being named one of the primary 8 captains for on offense, although he was part of the leadership council and given the C on his jersey. We know he's a leader, but what would you say about Zach and that situation?
Well, that happened, and I think that when we took all the votes, it ended up coming up when we had the captains. The rest of the team decided that we wanted Zach to be a captain. So he ended up being a captain because the leaders on the team recognized his leadership value, and that was important to them. And not a lot of underclassmen get voted captain. I mean, I was voted captain on my senior year, so I think it's we have a lot of leaders on this team, and obviously a lot of upperclassmen in last year's team. And so if you're one of those leaders, it's not. I don't think it's limits. We're limited to. If I could have, I would have had 20 captains, because that's the type of leadership we had on this team. There's a lot of guys that didn't get that C on their jersey that were great leaders for us. And there's a lot of different ways to lead, but he's definitely a leader of our team. So I think right now in the NFL, there's a lot of people that are trying to pick apart why you wouldn't like somebody, you know, so they can go ahead and do whatever they want. But they just have to remember when they put that out there in the universe, that there's always someone that can prove them wrong. And Zach has a really good track record of proving people wrong.
Indeed, he did throughout his BYU career. We look forward to the NFL draft and, of course, spring ball coming up in a week and a half. And Pro Day later in March. So a lot going on, Kalani. Congratulations on the success of 2020, the new hires. And thanks for the time, as always.
Appreciate it. Go Cougs.